Hello, welcome back to Access. I'm Nathan, and we are here at Ghost Games in Sweden. I'm here with Craig. We're here to see Need for Speed. You are the creative director, is that correct?
Yes, I am. For all of my sins, I am.
And what we've got for you today, we've crowdsourced a bunch of questions, things that you have asked us to ask Craig, and that is exactly what we're going to do. So I'm going to start off. Dan Shipman has asked, is there a plan to bring back the Mazda RX-8 to Need for Speed? I've owned one for ages and miss being able to mod it.
Well, just trying to think, because I have to think about the cars that we've announced as well.
Right,
right?
of course.
So,
yeah,
okay.
of course.
Yes.
By embargo.
Yes.
Not sure.
I would pay close attention to Need for Speed. We may or may not answer your dreams of driving that car again.
Fantastic. Okay, James Drake asks, with this being the first true next-gen Need for Speed, what can players expect that wasn't previously possible on older hardware?
Well, the first example is on older hardware, the games obviously looked like they were on older hardware, right? I mean, for people who've seen the game and you've been playing the game today, I think we've taken a significant step on in terms of how the cars and the graphics look in the game, right? You know, we have this cool stuff in the game where we can comp real world actors against your CG car in the background that you spent all your time customizing, and we pretty much get away with fooling you into the fact that that car is real, right? Even though it's a CG car. So the graphics are a big step onwards. Obviously, with new machines, we have cool connected features where we can push out daily challenges. We can take snapshots of the game that we can like through our Need for Speed network. We can build a big open world environment like Ventura Bay, which looks amazing. 300 kilometers of road, full traffic and cop system. We can have you drive through that with up to 7 of your friends, so 8 players playing through all drive. And it's, all of these things are a significant step forward on the new machine. So it's something that, is a great fit for Need for Speed because it's always about high production values and high speed, right?
Yeah,
so
of course,
we're always pushing that really hard.
And to throw my own question there, one of the things that really struck me, what's the full name of the comp system? Where it's the superimposition, so it's and it's not just your car, it's whatever car you've made, modded and spec'd up and decorated in exactly the way you want, and it always appears in, and I think I didn't really realise until I sat down with the game, but how it affects, so you have the kind of real world cutscenes going on, and then the fact that your very specific car is in there and it looks real, really adds something to the story. Yeah,
we wanted to bring the live action actors in the game and your car into the same world, right? So there's no point in treating this game like an old 3DO game was one of the first games. That shows you how old I am, right? Or even some of the very early PlayStation games where you had video game graphics and then you had live action cutscenes, and there was a big kind of
next
very
to each other
obvious
but separated
join, right?
Yeah.
And we said this is only going to work having live action actors in the game if we can fool the player into thinking that they exist in the same world. So the art style in the game is very much kind of photoreal when you're driving around in the world at night time. The cars look real, the environment looks real, everything's based in reality. And then when you drive into the garage, as you already talked about, we have actors acting against the car you've just been driving around in, which is very obviously yours because you've just spent, I don't know, how long have you spent today personalising your car?
About half an hour, and I put a cat on top of it. So I'm not sure any other cars.
Is it pink with a cat on it? Or
yes, it is.
Yeah. So lots of people seem to. They always seem to be like pink or gold, and cats or unicorns on them or rainbow.
We've all been corrupted by the internet.
Yeah. So people just love doing that, right? So we made a point of saying that the actors are going to act alongside your car. There's this cool scene where one of the characters, Amy, actually comes in and she's taking a picture of your car, and it's actually your car, and it's quite a weird thing to see an actor in a video game taking a picture of something that you've made. So it's kind of cool, right? But we really like it.
Yeah. Right, next. Stephen asks, is this game going to be like Need for Speed Underground 1 and 2? Not the only person to be asking that.
Is it going to be like them? I mean, it's Need for Speed. It's racing heavily modified cars through an urban environment at night time.
Yeah.
Pretty close to those games.
Yeah, exactly.
We talk about the underground aspect of underground car culture. So, you could the underground is kind of alive and well at the moment. Is that when me and you go to bed because we've got to go to work the next morning, these guys come out and they go driving around in cities at night time because there's less traffic there. So that was what in both of those games. I think it's certainly in this game there is an underground aspect absolutely to this kind of car culture. So if you enjoyed those experiences, they're definitely here, and this is definitely the kind of game where you can have those experiences again.
Cool. Right, next question. Lero asks, I saw a glimpse that the most wanted M3 GTR will be in the game. Will any other memorable cars from the old games be included?
Yes, and this is the thing, right? I always get asked questions about cars, right? So there are lots of really cool cars in the game. I think at this point in time, we haven't announced all of the cars,
right.
So I can't go through and confirm every single car that's in the game. But from the point of view of someone working on the development team, we've played Need for Speed for 20 years. One of my favorite Need for Speed games is the Need for Speed Most Wanted, right? The one that Black Box did.
Yep.
In addition to the one that we made, obviously at Criterion. But I think there's a lot of iconic cars that are in that game and in the original Underground games that are coming back. More of the kind of tuner culture cars and that kind of era, that vibe of anything from a car that was originally launched in 1974 right up to something that's not out until next year is in the game. So yes, we've it's a very eclectic mix and it's very Need for Speed.
Cool. Simply asks,
hello I.
Are canyons in free roam, or is it like Carbon where they're accessed through races?
They are in free roam. So the entire world is accessible right from the beginning of the game. You can drive all 300 kilometers of Ventura Bay based on a fictional version of Los Angeles. So you can drive down to the coast, you can drive into downtown, you can drive way up into the hills. And you can do that right from the start of the game. So you can drive wherever you want to. So there's no such thing as levels or kind of locked off parts of the world in this game. It's all there for you.
Magic. Cool. Lero again asks, does the game feel like Rivals to play, or is there a different handling model in this title?
We like to think we've got the best of both worlds, right? So when we were talking earlier about the creative decisions we've made behind the game, we understand that a lot of people have played more classic, slightly older Need for Speed driving experiences where you use the brake to slow down and you drive around the corner in a slightly more authentic way. Whereas the more modern Need for Speed games, Hot Pursuit, Most Wanted, even Rivals, you use brake to drift around the corners.
Sure,
and they're two quite different things. And as is always the case with when you're making a game, you can't please everybody all of the time, right? Some people really like the drifting, some people really like the more grip-based handling. So what we tried to do, and something we've wanted to do for a long time, is actually have both handling styles in the game at the same time. So you can go in and you can choose the handling style, as you will have seen when you were playing. There's a slider in the game. There are many detailed sliders, but there's one core slider which is the handling style. If you pull it to the left towards drift, it's more like your modern Need for Speed where you use the brake to drift around the corner. If you push it to the right, it goes more to grip, which means you have to slow down and use brake to feather your speed and drive around the corner. So we actually have two handling styles and two handling setups in the game and everywhere in between, right? So it's done per car. You can do whatever you want to. You might want to set up a car for drifting, or you might want to set up a car for racing. So like I said, we think we've got the best of both worlds, and we're finding that now from having people hands-on time with the game. They're really just setting it up how they want to play. So we're really proud of that.
Sweet. Lero, once more, will you get a chance to race against Ken Block in the game?
Ken Block, one of our icons, is not only in the game as an actor, acting as Ken Block, acting as himself. It's pretty cool. He's also he drives around in the game, so there are certain events that you will do with him, and it's really important to us, right? So the icons that we've announced, we haven't just chosen these guys because we want them to be just faces, right? These are people who regularly go out and drive, right? Even Nakai-san, who's well known for building, right? He used to do a lot of street racing in Japan, or Maharashi-san is well known for driving around in Tokyo, right? Or the Risky Devils that are very well known for driving around in Chicago and wherever else they go. So you can drive against and with all of these guys in the game, and it's a big part of the 5 different ways to play in the game. It's really important to us that Need for Speed is ultimately a driving experience. So the narrative is not just this thing that sits on top of it and has no relation to the driving. It's integrated right through down to the ground level.
Cool. Right. Richard Double.
Richard Double.
Richard Double has actually doubled up a question. He's just asked, is it like Underground 2, which we have answered, Richard. So I hope you enjoyed that earlier on. A bunch of characters I can't read. JR. How many cars can be put in your garage?
There are lots of cars in the game, and in the garage, you can actually own up to 5 cars at once.
Right. Okay.
So there are 5 different storylines in the game. There are 5 different ways to play, and they're because of that. And we didn't want to create a really kind of arcadey experience where you could just have an infinite garage.
Yeah.
We wanted players to treat cars more like pets, right?
Yeah.
Like we wanted to kind of, get hold of them and think, this is really cool, this is very unique to me, this is mine. Even if we both drive the same car in the game, mine will be very different to yours because of the way I can make it look, the wheels I can put it, the body parts, the tuning I apply to the engine, what it sounds like, what it looks like, the lovely cat decals that you put on yours might not, even if I put a cat decal on mine, we've got, I think 20 different cat decals in the game, right? So
you can never have too many.
So we've allowed you to put up to 5 cars in your garage.
Yeah.
And we think that's more than enough. We're seeing people play through the game. If you want to buy another car, then you're going to have to get rid of them, right? So it's an important choice to make. But you've spent hours. You can play all the way through this game with 1 car if you want to. And it kind of becomes something that you kind of invested in, right? So it's a very different feeling towards the cars than there's been in the previous Need for Speed games. So it's kind of cool. We think people are going to have a lot of fun with it.
Cool. Right, I think we're nearly out of time. So if we could bang through a couple of these. Any chance of daytime appearing in the game later? Asked Daniel K. Would love to be able to drive in the morning light, because at the moment there is sort of morning light in there already, isn't
It's dusk to dawn, it's based. So it's not just all, I think a lot of what people have seen is quite dark. But it's it's dusk to dawn. You don't drive in the midday, like bright sunny day, because it's not authentic to what we wanted to do. But you do drive dusk to dawn, so there are much brighter parts of the game which I think you've experienced.
Cool.
And who knows what we'll do in the future.
Lord Petrolhead, how long on average will the campaign last? Are you talking about the quickest that you've done it earlier on? So God knows how.
Yeah,
how long
I mean
it could
there
last.
are 5 different story threads that you can play through. And then there's obviously some endgame stuff, which is pretty cool, which we're not talking about yet. For an average player, people on the team are playing through it, and it's a 20-hour plus experience.
Yeah.
You could spend an hour, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours in the garage putting cat decals on your car.
100%, yes.
So and there's a bunch of collectibles and open world gameplay, and there's all the multiplayer stuff as well. So it's really hard to say.
A lot there.
It's a big game. It's bigger than Rivals for sure.
We're going to make this the last question then.
Okay.
Aaron Amadeus Weston, it's the classic.
That's an awesome name.
How many cars overall are there going to be in the game?
There are lots of cars in the game. Yes, lots and lots. Plenty for everybody, I think.
Yeah. Cool. Well, that is firmly answered. Thank you very much.
Thanks
Craig,
for coming.
For today. No, really enjoyed it. Stay tuned to the channel. We have got loads more coming up.